Hello, friend. I didn't hear you come in. Welcome to another edition of Painting the Prophets. I'm your host, Tom Ross. And if you've been following us throughout the years here on Painting the Prophets, you've seen some wonderful, magnificent paintings of all the prophets of God, all the way from Moses to Malachi. And this week's going to be no exception. We've got a wonderful painting lined up for you, but I just can't get over last week's painting. That great Sunday school scene where Elisha calls out two bears from the woods to maul and rip to bloody shreds 42 boys just because they called him Baldhead. Oh, that was great. I wish I could have been there. It was a wonderful painting, though. I almost used up all my cadmium red, though. But anyway, the painting before that was almost as good. Yeah, that's the one where we painted Elijah calling pure fire down from heaven. And it burned up all the prophets of Baal, just roasted them alive right there. Oh, I wish I could have seen it. Must have been nice to be a prophet of God, but anyway, I get excited about these paintings. I get a little crazy sometimes. But why don't we go ahead and go to my studio and we can go ahead and start this wonderful portrait, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Come on. Welcome to the studio. This is where it all goes down. This is where I paint the wonderful and glorious prophets of God. I get chill bumps just thinking about it. I also get a colossal chubby. Anyway, we're going to be painting arguably one of the greatest prophets who ever slept with a 9-year-old. I'm talking about the prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, before you send your death threats to us here at Painting the Prophets, I've already cleared this with the Sunnis, the Shiites, Al-Qaeda, Al Jazeera, the Taliban, and Muhammad Ali. So go grab yourself a cold one and come on back and let's just get crazy today. What do you say? You may even want to paint your own version of the prophet. Well, as usual, I run the colors across the bottom of the screen that you're going to need to paint along with me. So grab your airbrush and let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, I've got my basic design laid out here. I've sketched it out and covered it with a little masking paper. And first thing I always like to do is paint the background. It gives our prophet a little something to a little atmosphere to exist in. It gives it a nice contrast between the soft, distant background and the up-close, detailed nature of the prophet. And that's what I like to do, is capture as many details and make it as realistic as possible. Let's go ahead and do the background. It won't take but a second. Don't want it to be too harsh. Not too much strong color in the background. And we take a toothpick and we just stir it all up in that cup. Oh, I love stirring it with the toothpick. That's the fun part right there. Oh, shoot, I could do that all day. All right, now we should have a dark bluish purple color. You can test it if you want. Spray it on something. See what we get if we get something close. Oh yeah, there we go. It's blue. It's got a little bit of red, not too much red. I'm gonna start there, and I may put a little more red on it as I go. So here we go. No, let's just get crazy today. Let's just spray in the background. It won't take too long. Just spray it in any old way. It's gonna look like clouds and nice, happy little places. Nice, happy little places. Shoot, what do you say? Let's just get a little crazy today. Now we spray it in there, like, with maybe some vertical parts there too. Yeah. Now we gotta get a good, nice. There we go. We're just trying to get a little background in. A little bit of red. That's gonna bring that blue to life there for you. It's gonna bring that blue on up into purple land. Which is just what we want. Just what we want. It was getting a little foggy in here with all this paint floating around. And well, I went ahead and just blocked in the background. As you can see, this is going to be a very dark painting. So we need a sort of dark, mysterious background in there. So let's go ahead and do the fun part. Let's pull the masking off that was protecting basically the outline of our prophet. and then I'll talk a little bit about what we're going to do. Now, let's just take this old tracing paper here, and what this is going to do, it's going to really come to life just right off the bat. We'll go ahead and peel the whole thing off. No reason to, can you see if we zoom in a little bit? You can see I've traced out the prophet here, the eyes and the nose and the mouth and the turban, and he's got a wicked scimitar we're going to fill in over here. So the next thing we need to do, and it's the most important part of this painting, is the beard. That's right. You see, the beard is the power of the prophet. The beard is the glory of the prophet. We start with the beard because that's where prophets really begin, is with the beard. You see, prophets don't get to be prophets until they're 50 or 55 years old, and well, by that time they've had time to grow a nice bushy beard. Well, by that time they've had time to lose the hair on top of their heads too. You remember old Elisha? He got pwned by 42 boys. Of course, that pwnage turned into epic fail, didn't it? Well, anyhow, that's why they wear the turbans too, because they don't have any more hair on their head. So it's sort of a compensatory thing when they have the big bushy beard coming out. It's sort of a balanced type of feng shui, whatever you call it. You know what I'm talking about. And anyway, so that's a little trivia about the beard. But while I block in a little bit of the beard, let me tell you a little more trivia. Let's go ahead and take pure black. Pure black, and I'm going to load up my brush with a little bit of this opaque black. I think my paint's trying to dry out on me, but maybe we can block it in. I'll do a little cutaway and paint some off screen so it don't take up all your time. But let's just, let me test it over here and make sure it's working. Okay, I think it's working. Let's just get crazy. Let's just block in some of the beard here, and we'll see what we get. Heck, we're just gonna get crazy with it. Just gonna go crazy with this. Don't worry about it. Oops! And if you get a little paint down there, let me show you what I just did. Let me back up a little bit. Huh. Spilled a little paint down there. But we don't make mistakes. We just let God allow us to exercise our free will to do things we didn't really intend to do. All right. Oh, where was I? Oh, let me zoom back in so you can see what I'm working with. And hang on a minute. Now you can see what I'm doing. And don't worry about this down here. We can fix it in the mix. Now, let's just fire it in there. Now, I won't get so happy this time. Whoa. Oh, it's going to be a big bushy beard. Well, another thing about the beard is that it tends to intimidate people who disagree with your point. And the reason they carry the sword is so that if the people don't get your first point, maybe they'll get your second point. And so we're going to have a sword coming out here just big and shiny and just really just, it's going to be, it's going to be important. It's an important accessory for a prophet God, because you got to have, you got to have some kind of, backup in case your argument doesn't work. Now, and another cool thing about the beard is when you make it real big and bushy, you sort of have a place for all God's little creatures to live. Fleas, lice, and I like to think that all God's little creatures have a happy little home. So I'm gonna make the beard real big and bushy. Oh, just fire it right in there, just black, and we're not gonna worry too much. Now, let me get up here close and just kind of work that in right there. Get a little something going on there. And we're not worried about details right now. Not worried about details. We're just worried about getting in the basic shape. Just like that. Just like that. Fire it right in there. Just like that. Get a little dark right here. Get a little dark.